What's up, my friends? Today's video is why I make videos about quitting weed. I hope you're sick and tired of the beatdown of weed addiction. I do. If you're not, this video's probably not for you. Come back when you're totally sick and tired of being sick and tired of the beatdown of weed addiction. I used to love weed. I used to love weed, what weed did for me. It could bring me back to being present. It could stop my flat feeling, black and white, just bland life and turn it into just multicolor and multi-sound and just make it absolutely open things up. And then it stopped working. Then it just made me stupid and burned out. And then I would regret that I just smoked weed again. And I'd treat that with more weed. And then decades passed. That's why I make videos about quitting smoking weed. I don't want you to have to go through decades of the beatdown. I mean, the voices out there are so pro-weed. It's over a $50 billion business a year in this country. They own the narrative, the 420 narrative, that weed is wonderful and it's safe and non-addicting. But if you're experiencing the beatdown of it, you know it's bullshit. But it's hard to hear any other voices out there other than, oh, just smoke less, moderate. Well, if you're like me, you tried that and you ended up stoned 24/7 again and just hating yourself. I don't think I'm the only one. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm the lone guy who is sick and tired of the beatdown of weed addiction, of years and years of underachieving and unmotivated and just flat, boring, stupid life. I don't think so. I see it affecting so many young people now from 16 to 40. There's a bunch of people in my family and they just, my family's just, their heads in the sand. It's self-esteem. Yeah, it is self-esteem. You smoke weed every day, your self-esteem's gonna suck. That's reality. If you're not doing anything with your life and instead, and feeling shitty about that and coping with it from smoking weed, yeah, that's gonna crush your esteem. The first step in outgrowing those esteem issues is quitting smoking weed. That's why I make videos about it. I get a little bit of hate in the comments. I also get a lot of love. Thanks for all the love. But, the voices are lined up against the narrative that I'm speaking. $55 billion worth and more. And I get it. It feels so good. It's such a warm blanket, weed. It's such a thing you can count on to feel soft and warm, but it just stops working. And it fools you because when you go back to it, it does give you 5 minutes of, oh yeah, don't worry about a thing. Every little thing's gonna be all right. Oh, weed, peace, love. Anybody who says anything different is, I don't know, fuck, whatever. I don't know what I'm saying. I just know, here's the thing, the challenge about quitting weed is, part of you has to die. Part of me had to die. I mean, for years I was a proponent of weed, and I had to reject that bias that I had, that it was great and it was good for me and it was good for people. And that had to die in me. It just had to die. It had to die just a painful death where I literally got on my knees and asked God, like, I can't do this anymore. I can't. Please help me. And the next morning, bing, 4 o'clock in the morning, my eyes opened up and the message was clear. Throw out all the weed. Throw it all out. You're done with that. That part of your life is over. And I know like CBD and weed does help a lot of people. I'm not talking to those people. I'm talking to people who want to know that there's a better way to life and that you don't need to smoke weed and you can successfully quit. And then you can start taking care of the internal issues that caused you to smoke weed in the first place. And you can grow up and you can live a really positive life and your esteem can expand and you can feel good about yourself. Yeah. And you can find someone to serve, some people to serve, or God to serve. It's so good to not have to smoke weed today. That's why I make videos about quitting smoking weed. I got to do something. I saw this video in the 80s, this movie in the 80s. I think it was called They're Here. It was with the old wrestler Rowdy Rodney, I forget his name, Rodney Piper, something like that. Anyway, he finds these glasses and he puts them on and he can see that a third of all the humans are actually aliens and no one else can see it. And he's trying to tell everybody and the aliens see him and they're conspiring to kill him. And he's the only one that sees it. Sometimes I feel that way, talking about quitting weed. It's like, really? You really can't see that it is totally just laying waste to a generations of young people? They're just wasting their life, just stoned and bored and... Really? Again, I know I get a little passionate and I know I get comments like, it's just a plant, man. It doesn't serve, it serves some people. And it served me for a while. And then it stopped serving me and it didn't serve me at all for years. And I was addicted to it and kept going back to it. And my life was going nowhere and it was like entropy. I was dying inside because I just hated myself. I couldn't change. Change is hard, but change is fulfilling. That's why I make videos about quitting smoking weed. Because I want to be a voice that says, yes, you can change. You can feel good about yourself. You can build a life for yourself. You can find a real meaning and purpose and joy in life. And you can walk through also the challenges without having to anesthetize yourself. You can get on a spiritual path and you can be successful in every measurable way. I mean, one of the comments that kind of triggered me the other day was some guy was saying how he smokes 3 times a day and he's incredibly successful. He owns his own business and his family life is perfect. And he built this picture of absolute perfection. And maybe that's true, okay? If that's you, God bless you. I wanted it to be me, but it wasn't. And I'm 58 years old. I started smoking weed when I was 12. I can look back at all the weed smokers, and for every one of those guys, there's 1,000 guys who just are burnouts. And they wouldn't be watching this video. They sure as hell wouldn't be watching this far. No way. I love you guys, but, I'm glad I'm not burned out with you, okay? And I know, and that's another thing that triggers me when people say, oh, you think you're so righteous. I want to help someone that was in the same position as me. I want to help them. I want to interrupt the pattern that I was in hopes that they can get a better life, less of a struggle than I had to struggle with. If that makes me righteous, then yeah, I'm righteous. And, that's one of the things I learned from making videos about quitting smoking weed is the fear of rejection. I get to face that. That's one of the things why I smoked weed. I mean, when I was in high school, there was so many hot girls. I mean, my high school was in Southern California, Dana Hills High School. There was smoking girls everywhere. And I was, a good athlete and, kind of popular, I guess. Probably not, because I couldn't speak because I was so stoned. But I was so afraid to ask any of those girls out. I was just petrified. And it was all fear of rejection. And that's one of the things I used weed to cope with. It would be like, yeah, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Right now I'm just going to get high and listen to, music and hang out with my stoner friends and not study and not practice my sport, kind of half-ass life. Those are the kind of things you face when you quit smoking weed. That's why part of the reason I'm doing videos about quitting smoking weed. It helps me. It does. Because I need to face all this stuff. I'm still growing. But I've changed. And I'm not stuck in that pathetic place of another decade of just weed numb. Just flat, boring 2 minutes of bong hit bliss and the rest of the day just bleh. All right, I think I've made my point. Much love. That's what I got. If you got any value, subscribe. Peace. Probably not watching anymore if you haven't. Anyway, all right, peace.